I want to study English literature in university. It's an 8-word sentence. Sounds so simple to say, right? But every time someone asks me what I want to do in university, I hesitate. It's like the words are stuck in my throat, afraid to come out. It's weird, isn't it? Why would you think I would be so scared to say something like that? The reason may or may not surprise you, but this hesitance is an example of a huge problem, one that could affect the future of human innovation, and right now, the futures of very confused students like me. Hi, everybody. My name is AATHMA, and I'm in year 13, my senior year of high school, which means I am currently dying due to my college applications and schoolwork. And my college applications is where all my trouble started. During the summer, I was checking on where to apply to, how to apply, all the technicalities. And then, of course, the big question came. What do I apply for? Now, I was confused about this question, not because I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was because I wanted to do everything possible. But unfortunately, human cloning hasn't been invented yet, so now I am forced to choose. Then I got stuck again, in between science and English literature. And OK, now I'm going to break down this debate for you so you can understand what went on in my head. I have been reading books since I was 3, and I love books. The picture you see is, in fact, my home library. It consists of 2,000 books collected by both me and my dad, since we both started reading. And reading all of this makes me feel that I am not alone, that there are many others with an overactive imagination like me. And this has always inspired me to write. There's a 90% probability you'd find me either scribbling short story ideas on Post-it notes or writing verses of poetry in my math book when I'm supposed to be doing my homework. Please don't tell my math teacher that she will murder me. And what's magical about writing is that I could create scenes, characters, worlds, parallel dimensions out of thin air and paint a moving picture of it in your mind using just 26 letters. That's insane. You can guess by now that I want to be a writer. But I've always been fascinated by science. I'm a naturally curious person. In fact, my best friend calls me Curious George. So science answers my questions and gives me tools like experimenting to find out more answers. When I was 9, I pretended to be a scientist by taking the shampoos and soaps from our bathroom counter and mixing them together to create my own chemicals. One particular one I remember was a cure for dirty floors. But my mom wasn't too happy that I mixed up the detergent and the shampoo and then tested it on the floor. So now I am banned from doing any more experiments at home. It was really sad. Now, my favorite branch of science is astronomy, especially stars. Did you know there are 88 known constellations around us? And the largest is called Hydra, the 100-headed snake, which in itself contains around 78 to 88 stars. Like, that's mind-blowing. How many stars can you connect? And initially, I wanted to become a scientist or an astronaut, because space. And since I was good at science in school, everybody around me just went with it. Like, oh, all my relatives said, this child is going to be good engineer or good doctor. Very nice child. That didn't work out. And when writing at the time was just a hobby for me. It was a hobby I loved, but I wasn't really sure about it until last year, when I started my first attempt at writing a novel, a full-fledged novel. I got really inspired, so I started creating the characters, designing the world, and then I started writing. And then I realized, this is what I am meant to do. I was meant to write. This realization, finding that my passion is writing, made me really happy. Like, yes, I know what I want to do. But it also hit me with an existential crisis. Like, didn't I always want to become a scientist? Didn't I always say that? Do I continue studying science, or do I follow my sudden epiphany of becoming a writer? I was really scared because this was a very sudden shift. But I gave it a lot of thought. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to take English literature in university, hone my skills, and become a writer. This decision sparked a lot of changes and highlighted a problem that I didn't see till now. our world's view on the arts and humanities in relation to science, technology, engineering, or maths, the STEM fields. When I first told people that I wanted to do English literature, my family and my friends were very confused. They were like, wait, didn't you say you wanted to become a scientist? You were just talking about physics a while ago. I'm like, but yeah, but I kind of want to become a writer now. I'm going to do English literature, right? The response to that was varied. I'll show you some of the comments I received for it. My personal favorite is the first one, because I'm pretty sure liking books is a prerequisite to doing English literature in university. As far as I know. But the last one is what hit me the most. And all the negative comments you see on the board right now weren't told to me by random strangers. They were told to me by my closest friends and family, people who've known me for years. And when the people you love tell you that your passion is a waste of time, and you're better off maybe doing something more useful or something that earns you more money, it hurts. It hurts more than you think. There are days I've spent crying, thinking, why am I fighting for this if no one's going to take me seriously? Days I would crumple up paper after paper when I got writer's block during one of my literature essays, and then I would be like, you know what, I can't do this. Or every time I read an article of how there are less women in the STEM fields, I would feel guilty. I would feel like I betrayed my love for science. And maybe I could have been one of those women, but I chose not to. But every time I write, every time a poem just flows out of me, or a part of my novel just comes exactly fitting into the next chapter, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. But every time someone told me a negative comment, such as, oh, you're not going to get a job, you're going to end up as a poor, homeless person, I would go home and obsessively research the internet to prove them wrong, to prove that I could get a job, to prove that I could earn money, to prove that I wouldn't end up as a homeless person in the street. While later, I realized I wasn't just searching to prove people wrong. I was searching for myself, because I was so scared that what people told me would come true. And in the beginning, my search wasn't helpful. I got eye strain from reading article after article on how literature is an easy and soft subject, that the arts and humanities won't earn you any money, that there are too many low-paying jobs, and that STEM fields are becoming more and more important. What I find really funny is that people think literature is a soft subject. Have you seen the size of my literature books? I could put someone in a coma by hitting them with one of these, which I'm very tempted to do now every time someone asks me, what job will you get with English literature? But yeah, not going to hit anyone, no worries. And also, easy? English literature is easy? Try writing a 4-page essay on how Shakespeare made Romeo and Juliet dying seem dramatic, not like dying isn't dramatic enough, with decent handwriting, in less than an hour for an exam that's deciding my future. I guarantee you, anything but easy. And now politics also wants to get involved into this. In a recent New York Times article, the US government stated that they are going to cut funding for the humanities department in universities and direct them towards the STEM majors, so students would be more encouraged to take them and therefore help the economy more. Every politician mentioned in the article stated that the humanities have lost their value, and now the STEM fields are going to be the ones to help the economy grow. I will not argue against that, but what I find ironic is that every single politician has done humanities subjects, such as literature, law, history, philosophy, politics, and economics, and still stand in those positions of power and talk against them. That's messed up. The prejudice against the arts and humanities has now become so potent that we turn to hypocrisy to justify ourselves. And that's pathetic. We need to stop now, because our society has now drawn a line between art and science, one that should not exist if we are to move forward. And the reason for this divide is a misunderstanding of the STEM and arts fields and their relevance to our society as a whole. And also, ignorance about the purpose of university education. We seem to believe that the art and science are very different, that they don't come together. They are different. I could go on for hours about how the arts fuel the entertainment industry, or about how science got us to the moon. But what we don't realize is that they can intersect to create something so wonderful that humanity would progress at a rate we've never seen before. So I am not here to talk about if the arts are better than the sciences, or if science has a more monetary value than the arts. I am here to pose this one question to everybody. Why are we even having a debate about liberal arts versus sciences in the first place? Because innovators like Leonardo da Vinci, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, they didn't care about this divide. They stood at this ultimate intersection of art and science and changed the face of humanity. Leonardo da Vinci studied mathematics and anatomy, which inspired most of his famous artwork. Steve Jobs was a liberal arts major before he dropped out of Harvard. And he created Apple simply because he liked electronics and wanted to work with them. He, in fact, said, "It's in Apple's DNA that technology is not enough. It's technology married with the arts, married with the humanities, that yield the results that make our hearts sing." It's poetic, isn't it? And also, Mark Zuckerberg is a psychology major when he created Facebook, thus changing the social media game. And considering how most of us here has a Facebook account, I'd say the psychology worked pretty well. And these are just a few examples about how the science and art can collaborate. Many universities are now starting initiatives to include art and design and writing into STEM fields to improve designs of technology or improve communication between scientists. Forbes magazine has now reported that the useless liberal arts degree has now become tech's hottest ticket. Because while scientists and engineers take care of the design and creation of the product, us humanities and arts majors take care of the non-technical aspects of the company, such as advertising, marketing, human resources, and public relations. And sometimes we even start our own ventures in the tech world. And it's not just art and science. Science has played a huge role in the arts for centuries. I mean, mathematical proportions play a huge role in the arts. For example, the golden ratio is a special rectangle of the ratio 1 is to 1.618. It's used in artworks such as the Mona Lisa, photography, and even architecture. And also, science has been a huge inspiration for multiple science fiction novels, films, and TV shows throughout the decades. I mean, come on, guys, Star Wars. You cannot argue against Darth Vader or BB-8. As for jobs, people seem to think that writers don't have any jobs except to write. And if they don't write, which means they end up as a starving artist. Well, I'd like to prove that wrong. This is a list of jobs I would get just as a writer. And there are more than 50 jobs on this. So you guys don't need to worry about me. I'll be fine. And what I find even funnier is that people think arts, humanities, even pure sciences don't train you for a specific job. Okay? But the thing is, the arts offer a range of skills, a variety of skills that are now becoming more and more important in today's world. Because communication is now becoming vital, thanks to the rise of social media and easy sharing of data. In fact, if I'm right, arts offer the ability to write coherently, formulate and demolish arguments, speak in front of groups, like I'm doing right now, communicate complex ideas, and above all, train the mind to see the staggering complexity of the world around us, and apply it in any context for anybody to understand. Applying these kind of skills to STEM fields, or any field for that matter, would allow us to have a greater understanding of our world and communicate better with each other. A brilliant example would be how the Nobel Prize Committee tried to explain the physics concept of topology to the media, and in extension to us, using a bagel, a pretzel, and a cinnamon bun. It's these kind of creative ideas that allow the arts to flourish, to able to connect with people. And above all, we seem to forget that each human pursuit has a purpose. Art has a purpose. History has a purpose. Science has a purpose. Technology has a purpose. We as human beings are not yet ready to decide which of these are more important. The importance arises just as the ages go on. So, and also, since when did money become the bottom line of everything? What about happiness? What about knowledge? Because universities, they're not made to be job training factories. They're made to be places of personal formation, an institution of education. Because a well-formed person will be able to have a great understanding of any subject they see, and be able to apply to any career he or she chooses to take. Overall, the arts are important, and so is STEM. We cannot forsake one for the sake of the other, though, when the intersection is what moves us forward. I like to sum up my whole speech with my favorite quote. It's by Robin Williams from Dead Poets Society. We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. And medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. Thank you.